Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. I hope this finds you well. We've got some positive price action today in the markets. The Bitcoin price chart is up from a few days ago. It's been getting a pump. KASPA additionally is above the bull market support band. Very nice. Let's see if it holds. It is also above the descending channel that we've been following. The stock market is having some positive price action as well. It is on its way, possibly still up to the 1.618 Fibonacci level. So we're going to look at a few charts today. If you missed yesterday's upload, it was pretty awesome. I spoke with Miko Geno and we discussed the fundamentals, and also we talked charts on Caspa and Bitcoin. So if you missed that one, make sure you go back and listen to that conversation. It was a long, hour-long conversation and it was pretty awesome. So make sure to catch that if you missed it. So without further ado, let's first take a look at what's going on the Bitcoin price chart before we jump into Caspa and the S&P 500. So interestingly enough, Bitcoin now finds itself, let's remove some of these indicators. Bitcoin has been inside of a couple parallel channels. It has broken above the midline in this descending channel, so that's nice to see. We are basically currently pushing all-time highs again, and we are battling now the midline on this larger parallel channel. And so that is where price is currently hung up. And we have to get through that. We have to get through that to continue up, but it makes sense that there's going to be some sell pressure here. And let's see. So timing wise, it does look more like Bitcoin is... We could continue up and get that left translated cycle, but we clearly had quite a bit of a longer pullback after it tested the all-time highs than it did in the last cycle. So things are playing out longer. We could potentially be on track for a more of a what's shown here in scenario B, where we potentially peak in 2025, although at the moment we are outperforming, so we'll keep an eye on that. And the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is bouncing off of the bull market support band. It is potentially continuing up higher to the 1.618 Fibonacci level. This is good for the overall liquidity of the markets and money. This will inevitably bring money into crypto, more money into crypto. So that's a good for, even if you're not in the US, it's good to pay attention to that. As far as Caspa goes, again, this is really interesting. We have, in fact, you may have watched a video I put up 11 days ago about the Heiken Ashi candle turning green on the weekly for Caspa. So going back to follow up on that, we can see that it did in fact turn green right here. It closed green. So that was nice to see. And it has additionally, let me turn that white. It has additionally closed a second candle green, and then it is now working on a third candle with 5 days till this weekly candle closes. So it's a good sign that we are getting some green weekly candles, Heikin-Ashi candles generally. Heikin-Ashis are used to more easily spot trends. So if you use them on a high time frame like the weekly, that is usually more accurate as far as finding a high time frame trend. So if you're trading on a low time frame, you want to first look on a higher time frame to get a larger picture on the trend before you start, going long or going short. So right now it looks like on a high time frame, Caspa is in fact now again potentially in a bullish trend, which makes sense because there are other reasons to believe that. So, we're looking for confluence, and the Heikin-Ashi on the weekly is something we can add to that confluence. And if you look at this range right here, we can kind of compare these as similar accumulation phases. This one was steeper than the current accumulation range. And essentially, Caspa went sideways for about like 10 weeks. And after, if we make we draw a similarity between this peak and this peak, these were both around similar time frames. They look different because they were different sized corrections, and just the percentage fluctuations were different, but timing wise, very similar. And essentially after this peak here, Caspa went sideways for, roughly, or went down. I had some red weekly Heikin-Ashi candles for roughly like 9 weeks, and it turned green. If we kind of ignore this green section here and just look at this, we just say these are both more or less sideways, which they kind of are. If you're a high time frame trader, which I am, there's nothing much to write home about this. Like, this is not a huge steep correction. Like, this was like an 80% drawdown not on the Heikin-Ashis, but on this guy right here, or maybe it was only 70, huh? So this was actually, I guess that was a 70% drawdown. In any case, this one has been by far like the shallowest correction yet on Caspa. This one as well, shallow. So what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is that this time frame right here is very similar to this, and so the price action is more or less something we could have expected, and it makes sense that Caspa is beginning to pump a bit right here. So like, even if we just look at what happened below the bull market support band here, it went sideways for 23 days roughly before it started cruising up. We had a similar situation here where it went 23 days before cruising up above the bull market support band. This time it did hang out below the bull market support band for longer than the previous time, but that could be a function of what Bitcoin was doing, and also that the market cap is higher. So price seems to be stabilizing more. Like this drawdown, if we include this wick, was still only 50%. If we don't include that, because that's kind of an anomaly, it was really only 40% here, right? So, and then if we just look at this one, that was well, it's a little messy here. I have to move this guy. Let's see. That was too many things going on the chart here. So that was a 46% drawdown. So in any case, these drawdowns haven't been super steep. Could be a function that the market cap is now higher, and there's more interest in Caspa, and potentially exchanges are accumulating Caspa because they need to, because it is a fair launch, and Caspa doesn't have coins allocated towards paying for listings and providing liquidity for trading pairs that exchanges need to provide liquidity for their clients. So many exchanges will be accumulating Caspa if they want to provide it for their customers to trade. So Caspa now is currently above the bull market support band. We can see how this plays out. If this is the time, it has been pushing up against it more and more. The corrections have been getting less shallow. It could be the case that this time it does in fact hold the bull market support band, which would possibly fuel some positive, very strong price action upward to the upside. And to add confluence to that, it has very clearly broken out of this descending channel, which seems to Caspa falls into these parallel channels over and over again, and then eventually breaks out and moves up. So right now, what does it look like? If we zoom out, let's take a quick look, because we are in fact finally breaking out. So it does look like Caspa is in fact beginning to break out. It had only been within the channel, kind of testing the tops and the bottoms of it. Now it is very clearly outside of it. You can see that on the line graph. If we go back into the candles, you can see where it faces resistance and support. And right now we are very clearly breaking out. So that is a positive sign. And that in confluence with the Heikin Ashi, we can see that sometimes many weeks of green follow a change in the color of the Heikin Ashi. So when it turns green, we get sometimes quite a few green weeks. There might be a red week here and there, but the overall trend is to the upside. So we're now getting some green, and it's possible we could expect quite a few green weeks. I think we're, if you listen to Miko Geno yesterday in the video I uploaded, our conversation, we talked about how Caspa tends to have these mini cycles and then these larger cycles. This would be like a larger cycle. This would be like a mini type of cycle, accumulation type of range. This would be maybe a larger cycle. And then this again is like a mini cycle. So this next rise could potentially be one of the larger pumps that Caspa has. And I'm eyeballing like potentially 50 cents or something like that. Miko actually had a similar figure. There was some confluence on the rainbow chart for Caspa. So that was nice to see. We both saw not only a similar price level for the next swing, but also maybe a similar time frame. Could be out in July. And if we look at this again, we just translate it out. It doesn't need to repeat, but 216 days puts this end of June, roughly, the summer solstice, roughly June 20th. But it could be longer, because we are currently just poking above the bull market support band. And, we'll see what Bitcoin is doing at that time. Bitcoin could be, let's see. We can also look at, whoops. Oh yeah, I wanted this one. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so we'll see what Bitcoin is doing at that time. We theoretically could be in for more sideways price action in the near term. It could more or less do what it did last time and just continue sideways, because I took this fractal. The yellow fractal is essentially from here. So from the halving, Bitcoin just went sideways and then it cruised up. The difference this time is that after that, when the halving occurred for Bitcoin, it was already at the all-time high. Whereas when the halving occurred in the last cycle, it was way below the all-time high. It was still in this big sideways accumulation range. So this time we're one could say we're ahead of schedule, and if it went sideways, that wouldn't be atypical. I think Caspa is still going to do well, even if Bitcoin just goes sideways, because the chart has a lot of confluence around predicting some signs that there's some positive upside coming. So that in confluence as well with the S&P 500 doing well. I think that we're in for some good times ahead. Gold obviously is also doing well. Looking at it today, it looks like it's up a bit. So gold has been doing well. I mean, all the, everything doing well is good for crypto. So as someone who's pretty much, as far as my portfolio, mostly in crypto and hedged with cash, I watch just the overall flow of liquidity, and I am looking for a cycle peak. I'm a long-term swing trader, and so I like playing the swings of like the cycles, getting in at the bottom, selling the top. So like the last cycle, I pretty much just got out near the top and then waited for the inevitable dump down to 20K, which is pretty much where the not the bull market sport band, but the 200-week SMA was. So we fell below that. We did in fact fall below the 200-week as I predicted before it happened. And then I started buying down there below it, but continued to get into the market down here. And then when Bitcoin hit 15,500, I was open to anything, but I saw that as a very important level. And it turned out that 15,500 was, in fact, the Pico bottom. So that was pretty interesting that played out. And that was done using Fibonacci. So 15,500 roughly was the bottom of the cycle. So yeah, if you do want to learn technical analysis, I do have a Discord server. You can find the link to that in the description below and in the comments. And additionally, in my bio here, you will find it. The Patreon provides the invite link to that. And I'm there to help with technical analysis. If you have any questions, I also share my full transparent strategy on how I'm personally playing the market in real time. I generally don't share like all the specifics just because of privacy reasons. I don't want all my information out there publicly. But I'm happy to share my trades and stuff like that in the Discord, and also my strategy around how I'm trading Caspa and what levels, more specifically I'm looking for, and what I'm looking for in the larger macro picture. So I share what I'm doing in there. If you're interested in that, you can consider joining. And if you tuned in yesterday to the conversation with Miko, we're going to try to do that maybe once a month. So that will be interesting to talk more with him about what he thinks about the Caspa charts, and find some maybe confluence and ideas on what we're all seeing. So make sure you're following both of us. And if there's anything that you'd like us to expand on, drop a comment in the below the video, and we can take that into consideration for sure. So in any case, make sure you make sure you subscribe. Let me know if I can share any more insights that I didn't expand on enough in this video. And I wish you all a very nice day, and I will catch you on the next video.